Okay, thank you. We can only accommodate 2 questions. Previously have one, and then Fatuma will go next.
Thank you very much. My name is Frans Bouwen. I am together here with my... It's not working? Closer, like this?
Yeah.
I have to eat it almost. It's good for lunch, you know. Some pepper and salt, of course. My name is Frans Bouwen. I represent the foundation, the Hague Process on Refugees and Migration. I have just one question which has something to do with the future. What impact do you think future generations to come will have on the continuity and the sustainability of remittances? I just came back from Rabat in Morocco, and it was reported there that for the first time this year there is an estimate of around 10% by the local people there that less people from the north are sending remittances to their relatives in Morocco because there is less interest in doing so. So I would like to know, do we have to develop a sort of scenario to say, well, it might go in this direction, might go in another direction, but if I hear from, for instance, Mr. Ron Goldberg that he likes remittances very much, it could eventually replace development cooperation, etc. I wonder what happens if future generations say we have not that much interest anymore because we have our own home to live in, and the gap between the countries of origin and the country where new generations are more being integrated, participating in the society, is becoming wider and wider. Maybe I'm a little bit cynical, but I think it is very realistic if you hear these voices from the people, for instance in Morocco, and I thought that Ephraim had a similar sort of concern last year in California.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I can clarify my statement on the replacement of remittances, because I noticed that the migrant communities here in the Netherlands, for instance, are mainly coming not from the target countries for our development cooperation policy. So in that respect, it cannot really replace. But what I mean is that right now our development cooperation is focused on institution building in the south, and actually what we want to achieve is poverty alleviation, so let's say income generation in developing countries. If you can do that straight away by having everybody in Africa having a bank account and transferring the money right there, then you have ownership, where I think ownership should be with the people and not with the governments. And then we can see what they do with it. Probably the first money will go to the pub and to buy a TV and things like that. But in the end, I think the money will also be spent on education, on health, on anything they will decide upon. And I think that's the pure idea of development cooperation, is income transfer from the rich to the poor. And I think we probably need a lot of investment in the financial sector in developing countries to establish this. And I think it's not realistic to think that developing countries will have banks in every little village everywhere. But there are technological developments like mobile banking, using your mobile phone, and it's already happening in Kenya and the Philippines. And why couldn't this be expanded and also be used for international transfers from the north to the south? Yeah, then the distribution aspect is still an issue, and this is something to be still developed. But I'm thinking aloud. This is not an official policy, but this is my own view on how maybe the future looks like as regards remittances and development.
I just have a very brief reaction. I think in the sending countries, it's not only providing education, but what kind of education we provide to our people. Like in the Philippines, if you ask school children, what is your ambition? And the answer is, I want to be a dancer in Japan. You know, so it becomes, migration become a way of, it's just like a profession now, that to be successful is to migrate. So I think here we have something to do with, because the impact of remittances maybe to the household level, that it becomes a dream for everyone to migrate. So I think that in the country itself should have a very a serious thinking of what is migration and what is remittances, in the way how the people in a particular country would think about, is it developmental, is it undeveloped, but at the same time there are also a lot of social costs of migration, even the way people think and children think. If your ambition is to become a dancer in Japan, because your idea is that's the only way to rise up from poverty. Of course, there's nothing wrong to be a dancer in Japan in the first place. That is your own choice. But it becomes, if the Japan government do not like dancers anymore, so where are you going? How do you fulfill your ambition? So I think right there is the institutional building, as you said, livelihood, job creation. That is where it should be the debate in the coming years. As far as I'm concerned, remittances should be able to connect with that, the job creation, employment, strengthening of the industry and the agriculture, which I am still missing in the debate when you discuss about remittances. It's always about data collection, it's about cutting the cost of transaction, and it's always about what is the latest technology, but really linking it with rural development. It's